make a video. Our waiter, I ask him, can you take a picture and video for me? I make a one big tomahawk, and then I cut very nice, and then I put the salt, with the sun, like a rain, like a snow.
It was not what we expected. For $2,000, I gotta say, I thought it would be way bigger.
Also adding that the $275 tomahawk steak had been cooked incorrectly.
This is how you pour your salt on. We have a man who became a billionaire from salt.
Yes.
From salt. You can all put salt on. He did it the best. Bam.
It's your boy Puff Daddy. I'm here with my brother Salt Bae. He's sprinkling us with that flavor. Man, the man has finesse, style, and he's a genius at what he does. He's a one-on-one. Yes. Congratulations to my brother Salt Bae. Yeah. My brother Salt Bae.
Salt Bae went from being one of the biggest internet memes, serving every A-list celebrity who wanted a piece of his golden steak, to literally setting his own customers on fire, crashing the World Cup pitch, getting sued by his employees for stealing tips, and shutting down restaurants that are now ghost towns. And the latest blow, getting kicked out of a Champions League final, absolutely humiliating. So how did the man who sprinkled salt into stardom end up watching his empire crumble? Let's get into it!
Cappuccino!
But it's crazy when you think somebody has spent 615,000 dirhams on food at your restaurant. How does it make you feel?
Make me feel very happy.
Why is it so expensive?
We are not expensive. This is, perception, not reality.
Salt Bae rolled up to the Champions League final, uninvited, unwelcome, and dressed like he thought he was strutting a runway. But instead of a grand entrance, security spotted him and shut it down immediately. Normally, he slips into big events, does his little sprinkle in front of celebrities, then dips. But this time, people were fed up. Security hit him with a firm, "Not today," and fans online cheered like it was the winning goal. The embarrassment, next level, and Salt Bae tried to spin it. He stuck around scribbling random autographs, pretending like he belonged, all while looking like a washed-up street magician getting edged out of the spotlight. Then came the denial. He hopped on social media claiming, "I wasn't kicked out, I was just passing by." Passing by? Bro, you were in a full tux, rocking sunglasses at night. Passing by what? A rooftop fashion show? Nobody's buying the story that you just accidentally wandered into the UEFA after party. And here's the thing, if this was just one embarrassing moment, fine. But this wasn't an isolated L. Salt Bae's whole brand has been spiraling for years, and it's finally caught up to him. Remember the World Cup in 2022? Argentina had just won, the players were crying, hugging, celebrating history, and out of nowhere, Salt Bae popped up like an uninvited uncle who ruins family photos. At a wedding, Salt Bae straight up grabs Messi, yanks his arm, and forces a selfie like he's the star of the show. Then, in the ultimate cringe moment, he snatches the actual World Cup trophy, lifts it up like he just scored the winning goal, and poses as if he was Argentina's secret weapon. FIFA was furious. They launched an official investigation and banned him from future events. That was the turning point. The internet was done with him. Salt Bae wasn't viral anymore. He was desperate, corny, and completely out of pocket. And his excuse? "Oh, sorry, I didn't know."
Why did you go onto the World Cup pitch after the final, touch the World Cup, and kiss the World Cup? What were you thinking?
I love Argentina, I love football. And this is the accident. Before I don't know the rules. Now I know the rules. Next World Cup, I never touch the World Cup. I go to, of course, stadium, see the match, but I never touch again.
Really? You didn't know you can't just run onto the pitch during the biggest sporting event on Earth, watched by billions, and snatch the trophy like it's party decor. Please. You didn't just walk up there, you touched the cup, kissed it, and acted like you won the thing yourself. What was going through your head? And while his ego skyrocketed, his restaurants were taking massive L's. Numbers don't lie. His flagship London Steakhouse saw profits crash nearly 50%. Reviews dragged him mercilessly. Overpriced, all flash, no flavor. One customer dropped 600 pounds on a gold steak and left hungrier than when he walked in. Now, they're desperate, pushing 39-pound lunch specials just to fill the empty seats. It gets worse. His Boston spot got shut down for safety violations. New York? Closed. Miami? Wrapped up in scandal. Even in Dubai, where Salt Bae once had celebrity status, his shine has faded. One food critic pulled up and said, "Service was great, but we were literally the only people in the restaurant." From packed-out reservations to a ghost town with Wi-Fi, that's Salt Bae's fall in real time. This is what happens when hype runs out and ego takes the wheel. Salt Bae's biggest crime isn't just being cringy, it's being flat-out greedy. At one point, he proudly posted a customer's bill totaling a jaw-dropping $140,000, like it was a badge of honor. That tab had gold-covered tomahawks, ridiculous wine, and a tip big enough to cover someone's entire college degree. But here's the kicker. The food isn't even good. Gold leaf? It's literally tasteless. A shiny sheet you can snag off Amazon for $10. Yet Salt Bae slaps it on a steak, calls it luxury, and charges thousands. People started realizing, hold on, this man's just hustling rich folks for Instagram clout. And even the rich eventually get tired of being the joke. Behind closed doors, it gets even nastier. Former employees have accused Salt Bae of skimming 3% of their tips and firing anyone who dared to question him. They claim he ran his restaurants like a dictatorship. One lawsuit even compared him to Tony Montana. Yeah, that Tony Montana. Allegedly, he confiscated staff passports, humiliated workers, and treated labor laws like they were optional fine print. In one shocking case, 4 employees who stood up to him about stolen tips were fired and later sued him for wrongful termination. They painted him as a dictator boss with a god complex. He wasn't running a restaurant. He was running a state cult. And just when you think it can't get worse, at his Istanbul location, one of those dramatic fire shows went horribly wrong. Flames shot out of control, and 4 customers were literally set on fire. A Russian model ended up with third-degree burns covering 35% of her body. And how did Salt Bae's team respond? By allegedly destroying the security footage. No apology, no payout, nothing. Just a dirty cover-up and a prayer people would forget. Imagine going out for dinner and leaving with your life changed forever. All because of Salt Bae's obsession with theatrics. Salt Bae turned fine dining into a full-blown Final Destination crossover and still acted like it was just another night of business. But wait, the scandals don't stop there. He once served gold-plated steaks to Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro during a national food crisis. While millions of people were starving, barely surviving on one meal a day, Salt Bae was feeding Maduro $1,000 steaks like some Bond villain on holiday. The backlash was instant. Protests exploded. His Miami restaurant was swarmed by furious demonstrators. And Salt Bae? Silent. And then came the infamous Castro tribute post, right before opening a restaurant in Miami, the city with one of the largest Cuban exile communities in the world. Like, seriously, bro. How do you not check Google before posting something that reckless? That wasn't just tone deaf. It was sabotage of his own brand. But the scandals don't stop at politics. In Miami, one customer got slapped with a $1,000 gold steak he didn't even order. When he refused to pay, Salt Bae's team called the cops on him. Imagine that. You show up with friends, get served the wrong dish, try to dispute it, and suddenly you're being threatened with jail just for not wanting to pay for their mistake. That's not fine dining, that's culinary scam artistry. And the numbers prove it, Salt Bae's empire is collapsing. His follower growth is the lowest it's been since 2017. Engagement has tanked over 70%. Every comment section is a roast session. Every post is a meme at his expense. His restaurants are bleeding money, and his reputation is now the joke. He still poses with gold knives, still strikes dramatic poses on cliffs, still posts like he's the king of luxury, but nobody's clapping anymore. The truth is, Salt Bae didn't crash overnight. He spiraled drip by drip, steak by steak, from cringy cameos to lawsuits, from overpriced beef to empty restaurants. He wasn't just a chef, he was a performance, a meme dressed as a businessman. But when the performance stopped being funny and the prices stopped making sense, the whole act crumbled right in front of us. And when you stack all these scandals together, the truth is clear. There's nothing under the gold. The shine wore off, the salt lost its flavor, and if Salt Bae doesn't change, really change, he won't go down as a culinary innovator. He'll be remembered as the guy who sprinkled salt into history and crumbled under his own ego. Salt Bae could have played it smart. He could have used his viral fame to build a solid chain of normal restaurants serving real food at fair prices. But no, he turned his gimmick into a gold-plated hustle, charging tens of thousands for shiny steaks that taste like nothing. Customers caught on, stopped showing up, and suddenly his luxury empire was just bleeding money. And it didn't stop there. Salt Bae convinced himself he was untouchable. Crashing the World Cup final, yanking Messi's arm for clout, disrespecting his own staff, and even letting a fire show end with customers being burned alive. This wasn't just arrogance, it was delusion. He wasn't building a legacy, he was torching it. At the end of the day, Salt Bae is the textbook case of fame rotting someone's brain. He got rich, got famous, and started moving like he was above everyone else.
Your plans for 2025?
2025, I think our best year.
The sprinkle turned into a spectacle, and the spectacle turned into a scandal. And now, instead of being remembered as a groundbreaking chef, Salt Bae stands as a cautionary tale. Proof that when hype fades, ego alone won't keep you fed. What really sealed Salt Bae's downfall wasn't just the gold steaks or the forced selfies. It was the way the public started seeing through the act. At first, the salt sprinkle was playful, something everyone could laugh at. But the more he leaned into it, the more it became obvious that Salt Bae wasn't laughing with us. He was laughing at us. His entire empire was built on turning attention into cash. And when the attention shifted, so did the money. Behind the luxury image, his restaurants were bleeding. Empty tables, discount lunch menus, staff turnover, and lawsuits stacked high. The problem wasn't just bad press, it was trust. People no longer believed they were paying for an experience. They realized they were paying to be part of his performance, a performance that stopped being entertaining years ago. Once that illusion cracked, it couldn't be repaired. And Salt Bae didn't help his own case. Instead of addressing scandals head-on, he doubled down on theatrics. He still posed with gold knives, still acted like he was some culinary philosopher standing on cliffs, still dropped staged videos of himself slicing steaks with sunglasses on indoors. While his audience was ready to move on, he was stuck replaying the same tired skit. It wasn't style anymore, it was self-parody. Even celebrities who once lined up for his restaurants and gave him free promo quietly distanced themselves. The same A-listers who once invited him to their tables no longer wanted his sprinkle in their photos. That shift mattered. Without celebrity backing, the hype machine broke down. He went from being a must-see stop for the elite to a punchline in group chats. The saddest part? Salt Bae had all the tools to stay relevant. He had money, reach, and a viral brand that could have been reimagined into something bigger than a meme. But instead of growth, he chose ego. Instead of substance, he chose shine. And that's why Salt Bae's story stings, because it shows how quickly a cultural phenomenon can turn into a cautionary tale when someone mistakes attention for admiration. So what can we take away from Salt Bae's rise and fall? Fame is a tricky beast. It can build you up overnight, but if you don't handle it with humility, it will chew you up and spit you out just as fast. Salt Bae started as a quirky internet moment, a chef with a signature sprinkle that captured the world's attention. But instead of turning that into long-term respect, he turned himself into a parody, chasing clout, scamming with shiny gimmicks, and letting ego run the show. The sad part? He had the chance to cement himself as more than a meme. He could have been a respected chef, a global restaurateur, a businessman with real staying power. But instead, he'll be remembered for crashing sports finals, setting diners on fire, and charging thousands for steaks wrapped in nothing but paper-thin gold. A chef who mistook attention for admiration and hype for legacy. So if you ever get rich or famous, don't let it twist you. Don't let the hype turn you into a watered-down version of yourself. Because once people realize it's all show and no soul, they move on without hesitation. Salt Bae is living proof of how fast it can all slip away when you confuse the spotlight for respect. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, share this video with your friends, and hit subscribe so you never miss another wild celebrity story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think about Salt Bae's downfall, and don't go anywhere. Click the next video you see on the screen for more jaw-dropping celebrity drama. Thanks for watching Fame Drip, and I'll see you on the next one.